Let's look at an example that it's a little bit more of a blank slate so we can see what it's like to get started for the first time. I've got this firm here that I haven't loaded with any information yet, so it's a little more like what you'll see when you first get into the app. The first thing I'm probably going to do is start to put licenses in so I can start that management. If I've only got a few, it's pretty easy to add them manually. I can just choose my jurisdiction. I called this an Indiana firm, so I'll just select that. And then I just walk through and click the specifics to this license. So the start date, when was this license approved, or when does the license period begin? And then an end date, put that information in, the registration number associated. So could be anything there. And then the date that I actually submitted that application in the first place. Let's say I did that back in August. Again, this is where I can pull over any files that I have that correspond to this. Maybe my very first application can go in here, and I can choose the document type and say that this was my application acceptance notice. I can save that, and I've added a license. So I've already got one added to my dashboard in the active status, and I can see the file that I associated with it. What we learned was that a lot of firms are managing licenses on a spreadsheet though. And so we wanted to make the process of adding the licenses from your existing spreadsheet as easy and seamless as possible. So I would select Upload File, and then I'd grab the file from my computer and drop it into the uploader. Once I click Next, the first screen I'm going to see is basically just a readout of the file that I put in. So I can look through this and make sure that everything shows up the way I expected it to. I put the right file in, whatever the case. You can see here my Excel sheet had a bunch of tabs in it, and the app picks up each of those tabs. So any one of these that I want to work from, I can choose here. I'm going to go to this last one, and we'll start the process of uploading the information from this tab of my spreadsheet. I'll say Next, and now I'm just mapping a few fields to the from my sheet, whatever I call these things, to what the app calls them here. So first I say that I do have a header row in row 1, so now I've got these titles that I've given it in my sheet, and they're available here to choose from. So the jurisdiction, the registration number, the start date for the license, and the expiration date. And that's all I need in terms of required fields. I might be tracking a bunch more stuff in my spreadsheet, or I have a lot of other data associated to it. If that was all here, I'd see it, but there's no need to do anything with it for the purposes of the app. I can just keep moving through, and it'll disregard any part that it doesn't need. Once I say Next, it does this quick little validation check. Now, that's not validating against any sort of state rules or regulations or legislative information. It's just doing a basic logic check to know that you're actually putting in things that are complete or that make sense. You don't want a start date that ends before the expiration date and typographical errors, that sort of thing. But what I love about this is that I can actually make edits right here on the screen without having to download, re-upload, and maintenance the sheet itself. So here I'm just missing one of these registration numbers, so I'll add that in. It's going to recheck, and now it's valid and I'm ready to proceed. If I really did find an error on my sheet and was able to correct it here, I can download the corrected file right now. So if I had an error, I could get myself a fresh version that I've just cleaned and fixed. But all I need to do for the app is just import the file. And now you'll see it brought in all of those licenses from my file, and they all appear here. If I look back at the dashboard, you'll see the various statuses of those licenses, and you'll see I'm already getting notifications associated with the ones that have some action coming up. Here's one where I'm about to expire in a month. So each time I acknowledge one of those, they'll go into the acknowledged stack or screen in my notifications area. So I don't have any here that I haven't acknowledged. But if I look back at the all, again, I've got them all there and I can see those in the list.